It is Wednesday, and now I've officially had to do a whole week on the complete lack of link between video games and mass shootings, or any kind of violence of any kind, or any kind of hate movement of any kind. And here we are again. This time, though, I'm going to focus on the left because I've spent, first day was on Republicans who deserved it. Yesterday was on Trump, who deserved it. Well, now we're going to focus on the left that continue to perpetuate. Now, this is hardly the profile of a president or a lieutenant governor of a large state or, the highest ranking Republican in Congress. But it is still there. And I feel... I feel and think that I should be equivalent here in calling out misinformation and bad information where it lies. Now, warning, stupidity follows. So if you've had your fill of stupidity lately, I am totally cool with you stopping here. I'll do it now. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/Leanna K. Okay, Feedback Friday is coming up. Now you can leave. Okay? Because this is gonna get dumb. Like, really dumb. Now, some of you who weren't front and center for some of these events like I was may not realize how dumb, but strap in. It's gonna get really dumb. First is from Slate. And a lovely giant ad for something I can't buy. So Slate, the real connection between video games and mass shootings, it's Gamergate. Now, I could stop right there, but let's see if it's a misleading title. So Republicans found blame, blah, 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 blah. Trump blamed it. Republicans stopped letting the kids play Gamergate. And then we go to 8chan, and then we go to Gamergate. And a forum... so absolute in its dedication to free speech that would even allow harassment campaigns and doxing against individuals. And then, although some researchers have found a claim to link between video games and aggression, meta-analysis suggests the connection is weak as non-existent. At least they went there. Whoops. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's a Pew Research study? That's not really a study. That's a curiosity. More on that later. But, so here we go. The community of people who play video games is both vast and diverse, while the people who commit mass shootings are both few in number and overwhelmingly male. So on and so forth, really not making the case that there is a link. But here we go. Because gaming is so vast, it's clear the specific grievances of Gamergate, that women should not be allowed to criticize games from a feminist perspective, and that industry attempts to increase diversity or ruining games for real gamers had to do with the entitlement of an angry subculture of men within gaming, not the content of the games themselves. This subculture of Gamergaters, who erroneously believe themselves to be the only true gamers in a world of phonies, is what made the culture of 8chan what it is. It was violent then, and it's more violent now. It was misogynist or racist then, and all the more so now. Gamergaters wanted a safe space from which to attack the women they thought were ruining video games, and by that metric, the creation has succeeded beyond their wildest imaginings. If you're going, where is the link there? You're right. That was such a huge leaping among moving goalposts. It's like a 9-3 Mario level where everything's moving and you're just jumping from goalpost to goalpost as they rapidly move back and forth. Yeah, they went Gamergaters hate women to people who hate women are also sometimes racist to people who hate women and are sometimes racist also commit mass shootings. That is an incredibly tenuous link, but there's more. First of all, one of my personal favorite achievements during Gamergate, where I was hit on all sides, everybody hated me during Gamergate, everybody thought I was secretly working for the other side. It was absurd. But one of my proudest achievements was that through talking to people and going on streams like Sargon of Akkad's, where the chat was saying what parts of my female anatomy they'd like to set on fire. And then I pointed out that probably wouldn't smell very good. Like, really? But people started changing their vitriol from fuck feminism to fuck third wave sex negative feminism. And I'm like, this is progress. But it really was some people who were just feeling very threatened, who didn't have the vocabulary to properly express what their complaints were and who it lay with. And a lot of people didn't even know there were other types of feminism. They'd never been exposed to it. The form of feminism they'd been exposed to was third wave, sex negative. I would even add Marxist feminism onto that. But on top of that, which was just kind of a funny aside, because that's what being an advocate is actually like. It's not, we get this big victory all of a sudden. It's these little changes like, all right, good, something stuck. A particular point of informing people stuck. These people who still don't like certain things recognize that the thing they don't like is a subset of a bigger thing and not all of it is bad. That is how progress works. That is how outreach works. And I will give it to the Gamergaters, even the 8chan Gamergaters. I'm talking the pro Gamergate side, not the anti Gamergate side. Because let's face it, Gamergate was two sides fighting each other and things got ugly, but only one side of that conflict where there was bad behavior in many quarters, only one side gets blamed for the bad behavior because of the perceived sexism and racism that comes with it. Now, let's, for the sake of argument, say that people in Gamergate were horrible, sexist, and racist. Let's just give them that, right? Don't freak out. Breath. Okay, let's give them that. No violence was ever committed in connection to Gamergate. If you believe Gamergate was a hate movement, I would like more hate movements to be like Gamergate. Thank you very much, because it mostly stayed on the internet. It didn't spill out into real life. The only things that kind of got wrecked in real life were when pro Gamergate, I don't know what you call them, because they didn't have a structure, so there weren't spokespeople. But people who were going to speak on the pro Gamergate side at a Society for Professional Journalism conference, they knew it was happening. Somebody phoned in a bomb threat and it had to be evacuated. That happened to the pro Gamergate side, not the anti-Gamergate side, the pro Gamergate side. And it wasn't a real bomb threat. It was a stupid troll, right? Which wastes first responders' resources. That ain't cool. But that was not the pro Gamergate people doing it. And the problem is people accuse me of whataboutism on this because Trump is like, there were fine people on many sides. That's not what this is. This is reporting the facts. That is the closest anything came to violence or threats of violence directly connected to Gamergate in the real world. And that is fact. There is no basis to claim that there is any link to mass shooters or any other kind of shooters and Gamergate. Because no matter how heated Gamergate got, and trust me, remember, the burning body parts again, it didn't get violent. It didn't get violent, okay? Burning body parts metaphors aside, it did not get real world violent. This is fact. People in Gamergate, no matter how scared they were, no matter how angry they were, didn't commit violence in the real world. That makes this incredibly distinct from these people who go out and kill people based on identity. And quite frankly, I didn't remember anything in Gamergate particularly targeting Mexicans as a people. There was no immigration rhetoric. Gamergate had nothing to do with that. Was Steve Bannon through Breitbart, through Milo Yiannopoulos, trying to recruit pro-Gamergaters to the alt-right? Yes, it failed miserably. Like, miserably. It didn't work. It didn't work. The Lutheran attempts at converting the Jews was more effective. I know that's a historical reference, and for people who don't know it, it wasn't effective at all. So that's one, but there's more. Mother Jones, which is usually a decent website, published this choice cut. Video games have nothing to do with mass shootings, but gamers kind of do. Again, toxic elements in the gaming community help make 8chan what it is, giving a home to white nationalist killers. Now, again, here we go, Gamergate, so I won't bother with this. This is a combination of, not combination, this is an example of confusing correlation and causation. Yes, 8chan was a much smaller chan group that got started. I talked to the guy, Frederick Brennan, aka Hot Wheels at the time, during it via Twitter. And he's got very strong opinions about certain things. But the dude has a conscience. And he has, like I said, very strong opinions of these things. And part of it is that with freedom comes responsibility. He's the real deal with that. And I know he doesn't run 8chan anymore. But that's the thing. Like, the shift on 8chan, because I remember Hot Wheels a few times going, you're all being a bunch of assholes. Cut it out. And the change in ownership, that cannot go without mentioning because that's relevant to the way the site went. For people who don't know, people mass migrated. The phrase during Gamergate was 4chan broke containment during Gamergate because of some swift and very clunky changes to what 4chan was going to allow on its service during Gamergate. And a lot of it was perceived as being based on the personal preferences of the founder of 4chan, a guy that went online by the name of Moot. And there were a bunch of things going on there. But 8chan was just sort of, it went two places. Gamergate flooded onto Twitter after that. It flooded onto Reddit. And it flooded onto 8chan. So it wasn't just 8chan that the Gamergaters went. 8chan was a particularly, I won't say particularly aggrieved. It was a different type of aggrievement than Reddit, because of sort of chan culture, and I can't believe I'm saying chan culture, but it's true. The history of the various board wars going back like decades to the something awful 4chan board wars. All this is history you don't need to know. What you do need to know is that Gamergate was one board on 8chan. The same way the V board was different than the B board and poll on 4chan. They're different things. There was already a lot of nasty stuff on 8chan. A lot of gore, a lot of stuff like that. That pre-existed because that's a particular quirk of internet free speech culture that I'm not going to get into because I don't have the time. I want to keep this brief because people are interested in this particular thing. It's all over the news. But again, as chanish as the rhetoric was on 8chan, there was still a ton of stuff being, be polite, don't personally attack, like this happened on Reddit, this happened on 8chan, don't get sucked into the identity politics, like that's not what we're doing here. Things got confused between animosity towards particular women and the worldviews they espoused, and animosity towards all women. Similarly, it got confused, a particular animosity between a particular type of diversity and all, diversity. It was deeply philosophical, using a lot of poo-poo words. It was strange. And I'm saying this as somebody who doesn't agree with a lot of the philosophies espoused on 8chan and Reddit and Twitter and Discord and all these different places, right? That stuff was talked about, stuff continues to be talked about in a lot of ways because the media just won't let it die. But there is a difference. And again, we shouldn't confuse the particular linguistic culture of Chan boards, which is all words are allowed because you're not supposed to let any of them hurt you. It's kind of a toughening up exercise, which is really misconstrued because people got to understand that people on those Chan boards, a lot of them are carrying around real deep hurts. And a lot of them feel extremely rejected by society. And part of the appeal of those boards is because they don't kick anyone out, which is why when Moot started, enforcing rules and kicking people out, freak out. The big appeal of boards like that is often, not always, but often, not that people particularly like all the speech that goes on at those boards. It's they put up with speech they find disgusting so that they won't be booted out for their own speech that some people could find problematic. Very different. But the Gamergate type of aggrievement is not the problem in these mass shootings. If people with issues about race, about women, or everything like that, kept it to the way Gamergate did, a lot fewer people would die. And I don't think it's fair, as much as certain factions of Gamergate were awful to me, certain factions of anti-Gamergate were awful to me, certain groups, certain sub-factions within Gamergate were trying to get me to kill myself, or at least try. Certain factions of anti-Gamergate were calling me literally the devil. So I was getting, mental health stigma on the one end and genderphobia on the other. That was a joke, okay? But the point is, you cannot trace back violence to a loosely connected group of groups, a discussion topic, where no one got hurt no matter how angry everybody got. That's just foolish. And sometimes standing up for facts means I have to stand up for some unpopular groups and unpopular views. But facts are facts. And I will not let facts die. Because if facts start dying, then it's too easy for the professional manipulators out there to come for anyone they want. And that means minorities. That means trans people. That means, any group under the sun that exists or will exist. Facts have to matter. Because facts matter intensely to human rights. That's all we have. Because popular opinion starts off against us and moves in our favor because we have facts. And if we let facts die, we lose. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but we lose. So I'm going to wrap here again. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Thanks for watching.